Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. My husband was needing to ask me something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start dabbing a little dab of glue on these pieces where I want them to lay. And I think this darker one, I'm going to put the glue right here on this side, just a tiny bit. And I'm going to start it about there. And you can see that's quite a bit of glue, but it's okay. We're going to lay this one in it, just like that. And then I'm going to lay another dark one down about here. So I'm going to put glue right there and lay that one down. Now I'm going to come back with some of my holly leaves. And I'm going to put a holly leaf right here. So let's put some glue on the back of that one. And we're going to drop him right about there. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Let's put another couple ones of these going in this direction now. So I think I want the darker green, so I'm going to put glue on that side. And put that down like that. And then I'm going to use one of the lighter holly leaves. And put holly right here. And then we're going to put another sprig right there. And what I'm going to do is just kind of put that up into that glue underneath the holly. Just like that. And press it down. As you can see, I've got glue on my work surface, but that's okay. We're just going to clean that up. And I'm going to continue with some more holly, like right here. So let's put a little glue on here and put holly there. And I love these holly leaves. I think they're so pretty. They look so dimensional. I did use my stylist inside the die to give me a little bit better dimensions on it and to make it look more like holly. And I think I'm going to put one right there, and I think we're going to call it done. I did make a couple more, but I wasn't sure how many I was going to need when I started this, so I wanted to have enough. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to lay it over there, and I'm going to go ahead and start building our card. So let's take this black piece and glue it down. And again, I am going to use my art glitter glue, and I'm going to do a very fine line around the edges. A little bit more right there. You definitely want to make sure that your edges get enough of glue on them to hold it. And then you want to get squiggle, squiggle, squiggle some glue in the middle. And again, my glue is not wanting to cooperate with me. Let's see if it needs burping. Probably that tip needs to be cleaned out too. So let's go back to our other bottle and hope that it will cooperate with me. Here we go. Okay. And now make sure our card's opening on that side. And we are going to put this down so we have just the barest little bit of white showing, top, bottom, and sides. And that's a little crooked, so let's take it up and retry. Bring it down. And this is the hardest part of doing a layered card, is getting your layers on there evenly. But if you practice You will get better. All right, the next part is our red layer, and again, it's going to lay right into that black. So let's go ahead and do our glue again along our sides. And across the bottom. And then we're going to lay this one down. I'm going to pull this so I can get it on there evenly. And there we go, that's on there nice and even. And then we have our pattern paper, which if you notice we have a little bit more of a border around it. And the reason for that, the back side of that's beautiful too. But the reason we want to put this down is I wanted a little bit more of that red to show around the bottom, around the sides of this. So that's why I left a little bit more of a border. And I will have all these dimensions. And again, you will probably not have the same pattern paper that I use, but any black and white that you can find, or an off-white like this, will definitely work good for this card. So now we're going to glue this piece down about here. And all I'm going to do is put my art glitter glue all over the back of this, along my edge, bottom and sides, and top. And then we're going to put this down where we have about 1/2 inch and about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch at the top and bottom, and about 1/4 inch on the side. Now the next thing we need to do is bring this piece in, and this piece is going to live right about here, just like that. And I think we do need to bring a little bit more holly leaves in here, maybe one right there. And maybe one more. Like that. And now all we got to do is glue this piece down. So again, I'm just going to put a good portion of glue. You don't want to use too much because we don't want it to ooze, but we definitely do not want this piece to come up. So now we're going to look at our music, and we're going to angle it according to our music, and we're going to put it right about in the middle, just like that. Now we're going to grab some of our little white snowflakes, and we are going to put those precariously. Let's see if we can dump them all out, and I just want to get the white ones. So let's see, that's silver. I know I've got more white ones than I do other colors. There's a white one, and we're going to need about 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what 5 look like. Oops, we don't want that one. We want white. We don't want that one. That's a pretty white one. And here's a couple of more white ones. And how about this one? All right, let's see how we're gonna. I think what I want to do first before I put the snowflakes on is I want to bring this little flourish, and I want to, you know what, we should have put this on before we put this down. Let's see if we can bring that up just a little bit, enough to get that under there. This is when our trusty little spatula comes in so handy, because we're going to lift this up enough so that we can get that piece under there. And like I said, I leave my mistakes in so you can see how I fix them. And I'm hoping that that will help everybody when they make their own little mistakes, that they can see how we fix them, because nobody does this perfect. So I am definitely prying this up under here. But see, that's going to go back down on top of that, and nobody is going to be the wiser except you and me. And maybe that black cardstock that rolled up under there. It's okay, we're just going to pull that back out. And now I am going to glue this right about, let's see, right about like that. And then this piece is going to come back down, and like it's coming from right under there like that. Isn't that gorgeous? So what I'm going to do is I am going to put glue all under here where I made my boo-boo. And I'm going to press that down and hold it. Pressing and pressing. Now nobody will be the wiser of that mistake, because you cannot see that I did anything there that caused any distress. And this is how we fix our little mistakes in our cards, rather than having to start over and waste all of our material. We just fix it. So I'm going back behind this, and I'm just putting a little glue precariously here and there. And then I'm going to just press that down, maybe a little bit right here, and press it down. And then maybe just a tiny bit right there and press it into that. And a little bit maybe right under here. Just like so. And now we need to decide where we want our snowflakes. So I think I want one right there, and maybe one right there, and one down here, and maybe one right there, and maybe one right there. And we're going to go back and actually take and put some red. Let's see if I can find my beautiful, beautiful red stickles. I'm pretty sure I have a red, at least I hope I do. Yes. There is our Christmas red, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And we're going to just load up our holly leaves and the middle of these snowflakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue on these snowflakes and just put them down like that right here, and stick it down, and right there, and right here. I think this is coming together so beautiful. And a little bit right there. And we'll just sit this one right down in it. You know, if you need to use your tweezers, this would be a good place to actually use your tweezers to get these little snowflakes where you want them. But I managed somehow to get those on there. So the card still is not complete. We do have a couple more things that we need to do. One is we're going to put a bird on it. I've just got to decide which bird I want to use. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and try. I'm going to squeeze this out up here, and it is coming out pretty. So I'm going to put a dab of that right in the middle of this snowflake. And right in the middle of this one. And that one. that one, and that one. Now I'm going to come back over here where my holly berries were, or were supposed to be, and we are going to put some holly berries down. Now, mind you, this will have to dry, so after I put these on, I will pause my video, and once this dries, I will come back and we will work on it some more. In the meantime, I'll probably go ahead and get my bird cut and be ready to put that cute little bird down. There's one more right there. Yep. I don't think I missed any of my berries. Maybe one right there, because the other one looks like it's under the leaf. I think that is just simply gorgeous. Those little dabs of I'll get it out in a minute. The little dab of stickles just really added to that card. Look how pretty that is. I don't think the light is catching it to do it justice, but this card is gorgeous. So, what we need to do now, I cut this little bird, but he is way too small, so I need to get a bigger bird to put on here. So I do have a die with a larger bird, and I'm going to try that. So I will work on that, and when we come back, we will finish this card up. I think it's turning out beautiful, and I'm very pleased with it so far. Now, if you notice that your stickles is not exactly like this one went over, you can use your little tool like this and just move that back where you want it. The only thing you need to remember is you are going to need a wet wipe, and here's my wet wipe, so you can make sure that you clean it off in between moving the stickles. So just move it back where you need it to be, wipe that off, and clean out any that's showing like that. So I think so far we've done really good. Like I said, I'm going to lay this card to the side and let the stickles dry, all my glue dry, and we'll come back hopefully with a bird in just a minute. So thanks so much, and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back, and I just wanted to let y'all know that everything has dried on my card. My stickles are dry. It did take a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. We got it done. I did cut out this little bird, and I cut him out of red, and I really wanted a bird that looked like he was perched, but that's okay. We're gonna center him in the middle like he's flying across the music. And I decided when I cut him, he cut out with all of the little pieces out, as you can see from the die. And I wanted to have a background behind it because I didn't want the notes, and I thought this black background. So what I did is I glued the bird onto a piece of black paper like this, and then I just cut around the red of the bird, and that way it filled in the black, and that was probably the easiest way to do it. I did try first putting the die down and drawing around it and cutting it out, but it wasn't a good fit. It was much easier to glue the bird onto the black cardstock and then cut around the bird, and it worked very good. I didn't run into any mishaps whatsoever. Now, for this particular bird, I want to pop him up on some dimension. So I'm going to use this Brutus Monroe, very sticky but very thick dimensional foam. And I think one piece will probably give us the thickness that we need. This stuff is so super sticky, it's almost impossible to get the backer off of your piece. I'm actually going to use my utility knife, and I'll be very careful so I don't cut myself, but this seems to be the best way to get this off, and I'm trying to get right up under that edge, and if I can get it to peel up, I think we got it right there. And see, once you can catch it with the edge of that, you can peel it right off. So, no harm done. I didn't cut myself, so that's a good thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place this bird right in the middle, right about there. And I think that bird looks beautiful right there. I love the look of this card. I thought it was very elegant. I do want to cut a small piece of red and put maybe right here. I need something on the front that says Merry Christmas, or some little Christmas sentiment. But then, you know what, we've got all this space on the inside. What I want to do, since we've got so much dimension out here, I want to cut a black piece, a red piece, and then another white piece to go in the middle, or to go on this side. The reason for that is to kind of balance the card out, because right now it is definitely front heavy. It would sit up like that, but I think when somebody opens it, it's going to kind of toss over because it is so much heavier on the front. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to lay it over here out of the way just for a second. And let's get our paper trimmer back out. And I am going to grab a piece of red cardstock. And let's see, do we have any left over? Nope, I think we used both pieces a while ago of our red and our black. So I'm going to grab another piece of the raven and the scarlet, and this is the Brutus Monroe cardstock. I love this cardstock. It is the best stuff I've ever used. And I am going to cut my piece at 5 and I think I'm going to do it at 5 7/8. I don't know. I think I'm going to do 5 3/4. And I'll tell you why I'm doing it like that. Oh yeah, that cut like butter. Oh, that was so much better. I'm going to do it at 5 3/4, and I'm going to do this one at 5 1/2. And that will give us a quarter inch all the way around, and that's what I want. So that was 5 1/4, so this one's going to be 5 1/2. And 5 1/2. And then we can put these two together just like that. And we are going to, I'm going to put these together before I actually do anything else. I am going to use my AGT because I can get a really good edge on this. Now that did, see how that's hanging over just a little bit? All you have to do is just fold it back onto itself. Whenever you run that over, just use your finger and run it back onto itself. It's no harm done. And you know that you got it all the way to the edge when you do that. So, and I always look at it on this side to see, because you can always see it hanging over. There's a little bit right there, and definitely some right there. And we are ready to put this down. So I am going to come over top of it about like that. That looks good. So now this is going to go inside of our card like this. And I'm going to cut a piece of white out of this beautiful die set that I've got. It was the one that I used. No, I didn't. I haven't posted that project yet. Let me pull that die set. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and then I'm going to pull that die set, and I'm going to grab a stamp set. So let's go ahead and put this down. I am going to do a piece across the middle, and let's see if we can get this down just like we want it. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? See, that already gives that card stability. This is a really, really nice card. This card is, I I think it's just beautiful. I could not be happier. One thing I do want to do, and I'm hoping this is going to work. I want to add a little bit of color right here on this holly leaf, just to give it a little bit more color. And maybe a little bit right there. Just to give that just a little bit more dimension on those particular pieces. I think this card is stunning. I really am very happy with it. I wish I had moved everything up just a little bit, because I would have put a sentiment here, or if I'd have moved it down a little bit, I could have put something across the top. But we are going to go and grab the dies that I'm talking about, and I'm going to come back and we're going to cut a white piece of paper to stamp on. And we can call this card done, and beautifully done. I am so happy with the way this card turned out. So hang on and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back, and this is the die that I want to use on the inside of this card. It's beautiful, it's lacy, and it's absolutely gorgeous when it's cut. So let's get our little die machine up here. And of course this one's far cry from being little, but it is a good size die that we're cutting. So I'm going to stick that in there. And I got this piece of white paper. Remember the piece that was looking so raggedy on the edges because of my paper trimmer? Well, this right here is that piece of paper, so I'm going to make use of it. I'm running this through a couple of times more than normal because of the fact that this piece has so many intricate little parts, and I'm going to show it to you, but I wanted to get it over here. Oh, it cut them out beautiful. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? There's one little piece there. There we go. And I think that cut all of them out, and it looks beautiful. So let me move this out of our way again. I feel like I spend more time moving my die cut machine than I do anything else. I think maybe next time I make a card, what I will do is I will pull up my die cutting machine, and we'll try to do all the die cutting at the get-go, and then we'll build our card. Alright, I'm going to grab a stamp set, and I think I want it to be something that has some really good sentiments on it. And I have quite a few of my larger stamp sets right here. Let me lay my card right there. I am going to look through here, and I want to pull one that's let's see. Nope, that's not it. I do have this one. And may the spirit of Christmas fill your heart and home this holiday season. I love that one. All of God's grace in one tiny face. That's beautiful too. But I think for this card, I want this sentiment right there. And let me look at the other one, because I got one more in here that I think it was called Celebrate the Season. Let's see. This one right here. This one I could definitely use. Celebrate this season and the joy that it sends as you gather together with family and friends. And then Merry Christmas. Or celebrate the season, joyous sounds and sights, and embrace the miracle of Jesus born that first Christmas night. I love that one too. I believe I'm going to do this one. And we can put that right there and use the Merry Christmas, this one, under it. Just like that. Okay, celebrate the season it is. So I am going to leave those sit right there just for a moment. And we are going to attempt, as you can see, I've used this one. This one has not been used. But I'm going to center that up to the top, like so. I want to scrunch this under it enough so that we can have room underneath it for the signature. Because you definitely, if you make a card this pretty, you definitely want to put your signature on it. Okay. So since I've got this larger stamp set, and I am stamping this on a mouse pad, because a lot of times we stamp in our MISTI and we wonder why we get such a good image. A tip, if you have an old mouse pad, you can't use the foam pads like you use for embossing flowers and things. They're a little bit too flimsy. But a nice sturdy mouse pad. This is an old mouse pad I don't use anymore for my mouse pad. It's kind of stained a little bit, so it doesn't matter if I get ink on it. But I love to use this when I'm using my stamp sets. And it works really good, and I don't always have to pull out my MISTI. So let's grab our ink, and I am going to take my ink to my stamp set. So I'm going to push this up and let y'all watch me ink this up. And before I do that, I am just going to rub my fingers across the stamp, because sometimes just the oil out of your hands, and I did put lotion on them a while ago, sometimes just the oil out of your skin can really help the ink take to a stamp set, especially if it's one you have not used yet, like this top one. Now the Merry Christmas I'm not worried about, because I know it's going to stamp good, but I'm not too sure about the bottom one. So just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to use this piece of paper that I used a while ago for that the die cut, and I'm going to put this down on it. And I'm just going to press and then pick it up, and see it did get a little bit too much ink right there where the name Jesus is at, and I thought that it did. So I'm just going to wipe that off a little bit, and then I'm going to re-ink it again, but I'm going to be very careful to just dot, 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 dot. Just tap the ink on it. Turn your ink pad one way and then the other. You know, turn your stamp, and this just kind of guarantees that you're going to get a good amount of ink all over your stamp set. So okay, we got that ready, so I'm going to bring this down where I can see exactly where I'm stamping, and I am going to put this right over here, and I'm going to bring that up to the top, as far up as I think I can, and I am going to set it down, and then I'm just going to gently press, very gently, rubbing across each one of the sentences, just like so. And then we are going to lift. And that came out gorgeous. Just what I wanted, perfect with a place to sign underneath. Now I'm going to move the mouse pad, and let's bring our card back in and open it up. And this is going to be gorgeous right there in the middle. I'm not going to put any dimensions on it. I don't want anything that's going to make the card thicker than it is. We have so much going on the front of it that I don't think we need anything on the inside. So I'm going to just fan this back and forth a little bit, just to get a little bit of that ink dried, because we don't want that ink to rub. That is so pretty. I love that font. And this is a May stamp set, and it's called Celebrate the Season. And if I remember correctly, I think she said her mother wrote these sentiments for this stamp set. I am thinking this is the one that her mother wrote the sentiments for, and they are beautiful. I love the stamp set. I have since I got it. and I've had it for a while. It isn't one of the newer ones. It is one of her older Christmas stamps. It wasn't one of last year's. It was before that, so I'm not sure how long this one's been out, but it's been out for a while. So what I'm going to do is I want to just put this down with some art glitter glue. So I am going to spread some glue like that, and we are going to bring it over, and I'm going to hold on to the sides of it right here, and I want to center that right in the middle, just like that. Now I'm going to use the bone folder if I can find it. It is here somewhere under all of my mess, and I have got a mess on my desk. There it is. All I want to do with this is I just want to press that, I want to press that down like so, to make sure that that is adhered really good. And this card is done, and it's stunning. I cannot tell you how gorgeous this card is, and I don't know if the camera's picking up the beauty of this card, but it turned out gorgeous. So thank y'all so much for tuning in for this installment of our Christmas card series. Like I told you before, I will be continuing doing the Christmas card series through the rest of this month, and then starting in November, I'm going to actually dedicate the vast majority of my videos to Christmas items. Some of them will be Christmas gifts, ideas, things that you can give a Sunday school class member, maybe your Sunday school teacher, maybe your child's teacher, a little gift, maybe your mailman, your hairdresser. There's just so many things that we can do. We're going to be doing some ornaments. We're going to be doing some little gift boxes and things like that. But I am so excited, and I just can't wait to bring y'all all the beautiful things that I have already in my mind of what I want to do. So thank you so much for joining me again today. Be blessed. Be a blessing to someone else. Share the love of Christ with those around you, and share your love, because the love that we have inside of ourselves is put there through the blood of Jesus, because we can only love others because he first loved us, and it's our commission to love one another. And let's do that and show that Christ-like love every day to someone, because we never know what they're going through. We don't know their situation, their circumstances. So be a blessing, and remember this in everything that you do and say. Let it always bring glory to him. He is so worthy, and I thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless you all. Thank you, and bye-bye.